Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the March 1st, 2022 Town of Wareham Board of Selectmen meeting. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes, all 5 selectmen as well as the town administrator are present.
Thank you. May I have the Pledge of Allegiance, Santa Claus, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for allowing me to tease you, Mr. Manise.
That's
Appreciate
okay,
it.
Madam Chair.
Announcements. I will go first to Mr. Slavin, sir.
Good evening, everyone. The only real thing that's coming up is 2 o'clock tomorrow on Lower Main Street. The old Baker property, Mr. Warren's project, is going to have a groundbreaking ceremony again at 2 p.m. And that's all I have.
Excuse me, Mr. Bowen has just checked in.
Thank you. The record will show it's 7:01. Excellent. Mr. Manise, announcements, sir.
Yes, this is kind of interesting. I was gonna pull up the website, but I'll do that after. I got my electric bill the other day. And interestingly, the cost for generation through Eversource went up to like 15 cents, 0.15 something cents. So I'm like, I saw the bill, like, whoa. So I checked out what the price was, and I went back and I looked at the community aggregation cost, which is still 10 point something. So at this point in time, I went online and I changed, and because it's, for me, you know, it's a 50% increase almost of what they were charging to at the 10 point something at 15. And I changed to the community aggregation program. And I would suggest that residents of the town take a look at it, and I will try to post that up later. You can get to it to the website, the town website. You have to type in the search community aggregation. And they've got a couple tools so you compare what rates you're paying now through whomever your supplier is, which I assume would be Eversource, how many kilowatt hours you utilize, and you put that in, and it'll give you the price savings for this period that you put in. Take a look at it and maybe take advantage. Maybe it'll work for your benefit. Usually Mr. Slavin would be on top of this, but I one-upped him for once. Thank you.
Just as a comment back to Jim, I told everybody on this program, you sign up for it, it locks you in for 2 years. And Eversource normally sometime in the winter always plays that game of bouncing the rate up, and this bounce is higher than usual. So you didn't really beat me, Jim, but it's okay.
I got you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank
Mr. Titlebaum?
No announcements.
Okay. Mr. Tropiano, announcements?
We have no-
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
He's breaking up.
Okay, you're breaking up, so I'm presuming you said no.
I said no.
Okay, good. And I have no announcements. Town residents' comments. I see Sandy Slavin with a hand up. I will let her into the meeting, please. Mr. Manise, what kind of dog is that?
It's a Portuguese pointer. He's an old fella. You know,
He's
like,
beautiful.
he'll be 13.
He's very
Couple
handsome.
years old. He's a handsome boy.
Yeah, nice
Thank
dog. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Will you identify yourself for the record wherever you are and speak
Sandy
up?
Slavin. I received a note that Bryant Farm land owned by the town of Wareham behind the Nazarella farm stand on Route 6. Somebody's been running through there on a dirt bike and ruining our trails. Somebody has been using shotgun shells, firing shotgun shells off by the river. My recommendation is if somebody hears something like that, call the police. We can't have people shooting shotguns across from homes along the Wareham River. So if you hear something, call the police on it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I see no other hands raised, so I will now go back to board's comments, and I will go to Mr. Slavin first.
Good evening again. I sent a note off today. We just got in to the key people in the town administration about another stormwater grant that's coming through Dr. Casas. I think it's only $75,000. There's probably maybe 2 or 3 projects max. We can always use help with stormwater management issues because being where we are, we're the target for a lot of stuff that's going to be forced on us. I'm expecting the TMDL to come down anytime now for Buzzards Bay, and that's going to be a rude awakening for our waterfront communities when that happens. The other thing is I'd like to see if our town council, giving Rich some work, would look at the MBTA housing zoning piece that's in place. Actually, probably was done almost a while ago, which has to do with if you have an MBTA station within a, you have to have housing within a certain district and so many houses per acre, basically, and stuff. As if we do get commuter rail, it changes us drastically. As an adjoining community, we still have some requirements. This issue came up in the Serpent meeting last week on Wednesday. I actually brought it up to the 27 communities. And the communities are all in kind of an uproar because of the difficulty of doing anything or the costs, etc. There are certain, we'll call them gateway communities, are threatening to sue the state on this issue as well. So this is going to be a real interesting mess. I'll leave it like that. So I think we should know where we are and where we stand ahead of time and not have to react afterwards, but be proactive on this one, because this looks like it's going to be a real problem. Thank you.
Mr.
Got it.
Manise?
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen. Mr. Manise?
I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. Mr. Titlebaum?
Yeah, a couple of things. First off, I'd like to thank everybody who showed up at the town meeting last week. It was a good experience. The moderator did a great job of running the meeting. I know it took a while for people to get in there, but that's just a consequence of what it takes to exercise your right as a citizen legislator these days. If we get more than 200 people who show up, there's going to be lines. That's just a fact. I thought the debate was good. I thought all viewpoints got expressed. I thought the moderator let the debate go on long enough before the motion to close it took place. And, obviously the people spoke overwhelmingly in favor of golf. Who knew? Secondly, my thoughts and prayers go out to the citizens of the nation of Ukraine who are experiencing an unprecedented assault, unprecedented at least since World War II when the Nazis came through. There's no place for this in the world. There's no place for the weak leadership I've seen from each of the last 4 presidents on this issue, allowing a thug and a bully to act out in this way. First in Georgia in 2008, then in Crimea in 2014, various poisonings of dissidents in other countries. And this is the result you get when you don't confront bullying of this type. And so I really think people need to pay attention and wake up and understand that failure to confront this directly is what gets you where you are today. Thirdly, it seems that I heard some interesting things coming out about my resignation. And apparently I have to re-announce that I'm resigning again because a couple of citizens, I understand Mr. Cosgrove and Mrs. Ekstrom, are going around telling people that I've hatched some kind of grand scheme with the town clerk to unresign my position at 7:59 on election night. This apparently is predicated on the fact that I put 8 p.m. on my resignation letter. There's a very simple reason I put 8 p.m. on the resignation letter. It's because on that day, the town election ends at 8 o'clock. No more ballots get cast past 8 o'clock. Therefore, my replacement will have been elected. It may take another hour or two or however long to compile the votes and get them in from the precincts and announce a final result. But at that point, I don't feel that there should be sort of two people occupying the same spot on the board, even if, technically under the law, somebody has to wait to be sworn in. So I have to say, I don't appreciate this kind of rumor mongering. I would note that, I'm pretty good at the defamation lawsuit game, as proven recently in Onset. So people might want to be careful about what they say going forward. And this goes back into my thing about the Ukraine. Putin's entire position is based upon conspiracy theories. And people think they're small and they start out small and, well, I'm just doing it to win this point, or I'm just doing it to get that, or to get this position. Character matters. And I hope people take this into account going forward when they look at who they think is fit to serve here and elsewhere in town. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tropiano?
All right, so Peter brought this up, so I gotta just go in here a little bit. Okay, so we have an election coming up. And all of the folks out there that are going to go to vote, and I hope it'll be everybody, are going to decide who their leaders are gonna be. Well, I want to chastise the voters a little bit, because it appears, in just looking at what's happening on the local level, as well as the national level, or the state level, or any of the levels right now, individuals and people that probably should have never got elected end up getting elected because nobody goes out and voices their opinion. And then when it's all over and it's already happened, they sit back and say, oh, geez, I wish that hadn't happened. I wish that didn't happen. Too bad that happened. This shouldn't be going on. That shouldn't be going on. And the reason is because you're too damn lazy and you've abdicated your position to vote to other people. And you said, you take care of it. So what happens is the 1%ers, the 2%ers, whatever you want to call them, they infiltrate every part of society. And then everybody sits there and looks and says, hey, why are we doing that? Well, that's the reason why we're doing it, is because the voters do not go out, take the time to learn who the candidates are, and vote for a candidate that is reasonable. And, most of us, let's put it this way, most of us in this country, I'd say most of us are centrists. There's a lot of right wings and there's a lot of left wings, okay? But I'd say the majority of us are more centrist than anything else. But for some reason or another, we've allowed the two sides of the wings to take over. This can't happen. You've got to get off your butts, people. You've got to go out and vote. It's important. And if you think it doesn't start with the local election, then you ain't listening to what they've been telling you for years. Everything is local. Start here. Go out and vote. Make your voices heard. Get the people that you want to make the decisions. And then maybe you won't be on Facebook complaining so much. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Tropiano. I'm just going to make one comment before we move on to appointments, et cetera. I believe that the people who came to the town meeting actually voted for open space and as opposed to golf. That's my reading of the 400 and some odd people who showed up. Just my theory on it.
No, I think that's valid.
Okay, we'll go on to appointments, reappointments. Would you let Miss Dunham into the meeting, please?
Miss Dunham.
Mrs. Dunham.
She's been on that committee for years, hasn't she? Did she
Not
get
this
off?
one,
No,
not this one.
Not this,
Historic Commission, Patrick.
this is the commission. I'm sorry. Never mind. Never mind.
It's okay. It gets confusing.
Good evening, Miss Dunham. How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
How is everybody doing today?
Well, thank you. Could you address the board as to why you would like to serve on the Historic District Commission for a term to expire June of 25? In your
Certainly.
spare time?
I am looking forward to the opportunity, if the board so chooses, to appoint me to the Historic District Commission, because I am now currently on the Historical Commission and president of the Wareham Historical Society. I have been involved in many projects in collaboration with Town Hall regarding Tremont Nails history and so on. The Historic District Commission right now is in need of a member or more. Hopefully, more people will apply to join, to have a quorum to move things forward. Wareham right now is at a turning point. A lot of opportunities for change, good things coming down the road. Tomorrow with Mr. Warren's kickoff invitation down at the town pier is an example. But there are many opportunities coming down the line for Wareham Town Hall and the center. Changes that are coming down the line. Eastern Bank, as people know, has been sold and so on. So I want to be a part of that process. The Historical Commission has partnered with the Historic District Commission on many occasions. And while we are not always able to save properties that we would wish, in a perfect world, we would. But we do the best we can. And I look forward to being part of that process.
Thank you. Just for everybody's edification, including mine, you mentioned 3 different committees, if you will. Can you explain exactly what the Historic District Commission does, please?
The Historic Commission has the responsibility of promoting Wareham's historical culture. And we try to help people with their historic properties. We hold demolition delay hearings for properties that are, in many cases, structurally unsound. So this is, and also in my role as Historical Society president, we have 5 buildings. That's a 501c3 private organization. We strive to promote Wareham's history through public programs. I try to partner with as many organizations in town as possible in that role. And I've been in that role for quite a while now, and we have some amazing opportunities coming down the road. So that's my goal. And
Okay,
the
thank
Historical
you.
Commission in particular.
Thanks so much. Mr. Slavin, any questions of the young lady?
The issue that I have, and it has to do with my own experiences with the state as well, is when you're in a private organization, as the Historical Society is, and then you become a member of the Historical Commission and then the Historic District Commission, there are times that there will be conflicts because of just the natural progress of things, and you end up having to just basically walk out the room when something comes up because you can't vote. My experience was I was on the striped bass recreational committee for the state, and I was our director. When I became a member of the Marine Fisheries Commission, the 9 commissioners, I was forced actually to resign from the striper fishery group in order to be a Marine Fisheries Commissioner. I'm not looking for that type of request at all. It's just, I think there's a conflict and it could cause issues down the line. I'll probably going to abstain on the vote, but this particular Historic District Commission is critical that they get at least 4 members, because very simply, without them being able to give Mr. Warren a certificate of appropriateness for the building he wants to put up, he can't. So this thing is timing and everything. He's running right up against the federal grant program that he has in order to comply with their rules. I think the penalty is well over $1 million if he doesn't make it, and it might kill the whole project. So even though I have my own issues, this is an appointment that's critical to get made in order to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum, any questions or comments, sir? You're muted. Thank you. Mr. Manise, any questions or comments, sir?
Just, thanks for applying, and I think there's only 4 members now.
Only
Four, one doesn't show up because of,
Okay, so it's important that we have an additional member on there.
Yes.
I know Ms. Dunham has always been interested in historical aspects of the town, and I think she'd be a very good representative on that board. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tropiano, comments or questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Good. Neither am I. I will accept a motion.
I move that we appoint Angela Dunham to Historic District Commission to a term to expire June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
abstain.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
and myself, yes, 401. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Dunham. The paperwork probably will be in the office Monday at the latest. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I make a comment, please?
Sure.
I would like to encourage, as the selectmen have repeatedly said, and I've lost track of how many times, requested that people please consider sending in applications for the numerous openings there are on the volunteer committees that we have here in town. We can't move forward without everyone's help. And I understand Mr. Slavin's concerns. I agree that we have to be careful. I do my best to identify which hat I'm wearing when I speak, but I do understand his concerns, and I will do my best to clarify and take care of that.
Great. Thank you very much. We have 3 hearings and we have a pretty lengthy agenda, so I would ask that we kind of pick the pace up here.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah,
I-
there's
I
a
move-
Mr. I need to let some people into the meeting. Is there a Mr. Picking here for the Mack truck, or anybody who's here? Brian Buckley is here for the Mack truck. Let him in. Is there anyone here with you, Mr. Buckley? If they are, they should be raising their hand, and I see no one else. Okay, so let Mr. Buckley into the meeting, please.
In the meantime, I move we open the public hearing for an application from Ballad Mac Sales and Service Inc., DBA Ballad Truck Center, 2381 Cranberry Highway, West Wareham, for Class 1 license under provisions of Chapter 140, the Massachusetts General Laws.
May I have a second? Motion made and seconded. I'm going to go for a roll call vote, please. This is to open the hearing. Mr. Slavin,
Yes,
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, Mr. Manise,
Yes.
myself, the hearing is open. Mr. Buckley, would you like to present your ask, I guess?
Yeah, we are currently operating a repair garage.
First of all, can you tell us your title and everything, please?
Sure. My name is Brian Buckley. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Ballad Truck Center. We have 6 locations between Massachusetts and Rhode Island. West Wareham being our 6th and newest location. We're currently operating a repair garage and parts supply small warehouse servicing Southeastern Mass and the Cape. We work on nothing but commercial vehicles, and we like to, if possible, we'd like to park a new truck for sale on the premises once in a while. It's not going to be a major facility for us, but we just don't want to violate any rules or regulations if we do happen to have a new truck parked there that may be available for sale. But it's not going to be a big outlet for us.
Thank you. Questions from the board, Mr. Slavin?
if you remember, I went around to all the different Class 1 licenses to check the numbers of vehicles, et cetera. I did stop in and we had a very, very friendly, easygoing talk about the issue when I stopped into Ballad. And the question was, are we going to sell new trucks there or not? And the question was, well, if I have one on display, what happens? And my comment was, you really have to have a Class 1 license. And they said they would take care of it. And they've done just what they said they would do. And I have no issues with it. It's very nice, clean operation.
Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum, questions or comments, sir?
No questions?
Mr. Tropiano, questions or comments, sir?
I have no questions.
Thank you. Mr. Manise, questions or comments, sir?
No, thank you.
Thank you. And I have none either. Then I will accept a motion.
Move we
Motion.
close.
Well, 1 second.
Oh,
Public
okay.
hearing, you got to solicit
Yeah.
comment.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
so is there
Sure.
anyone here who wants to speak on behalf of the petitioner?
No, I see a hand.
No,
up.
that hand has been up all night. No,
Okay,
there's no others. So no, there's no one here.
But against.
How about to speak against the application? All of the documentation for this application is in current format, just so that you all know.
All right, seeing
I
none.
see
I
none. Go ahead,
close
Ms.
the Hearing.
Motion made to close the hearing.
Second,
Motion made and seconded to close the hearing. Any further discussion on closing the hearing? I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
yes,
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes,
myself, yes, and the hearing is closed. I will now accept a motion.
Approve the application for Ballad Mac Sales and Service, Inc., DBA Ballad Truck Center, 2381 Cranberry Highway, West Wareham, Mass. For a Class 1 license under the provisions of Chapter 140 of the Massachusetts General Laws.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on the application, on the motion to grant? I will go for a roll call vote, please. Mr. Slavin,
yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
yes,
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
yes.
and myself, yes, 500. Thank you very much, Mr. Buckley.
Thank you.
You will, I believe that paperwork, well, you probably should wait until Monday to have somebody pick it up, sir,
Okay,
because town hall is not open on Fridays.
no rush.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening.
You too.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yeah, I move that we open the public hearing for an application from CCC Wareham Store LLC DBA Cape Cod Coffee, 2421 Cranberry Highway, site 336 Wareham, for an annual common vicular all alcoholic beverage license under the provisions of Chapter 138 of the Mass General Laws for the year 2022.
Mr.
Second.
Corey Wilk, yes, second. Mr. Corey Wilk should be being let into the meeting, please. There's a motion made to open the hearing. Is there, and a second? I will go for a roll call vote, please. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
yes,
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes,
and myself. Yes, the hearing is open. Mr. Wilk, would you care to address the board about your plans and the application? And yours happens to be one of the thickest applications that we've seen in probably, I don't know how long. So the board members were able to look at it in the office, but they did not get a copy of every piece of paper. You are muted, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. And I actually have with me, my name is Corey Wilk. I'm a lawyer for the applicant, and I actually have the principal of the applicant, Jan Agerbeck, who is somewhere in this metaverse.
Okay, yes.
here.
Could you let Mr. Agerbeck into the meeting, please? Jan, J, and yeah, okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you.
And also, and I don't know if you need to let her in or not, but just wanted you to know that Hannah Foley, who's with the landlord, is here too, just to express her support for.
Okay, we will let Hannah Foley into the meeting as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why don't you begin your
Well,
presentation?
I'll start, yeah. So thank you and apologies for the length of the application. The ABCC is becoming increasingly challenging with how much stuff we need to submit and making sure every single I is dotted and T is crossed. So that was the reason for that. CCC Wareham Store is a company owned by Pamela and Jan Agerbeck through their company Magni, and it's for Cape Cod Coffee, which has which I believe has one other location in Barnstable. They do breakfast, lunch, coffee, fun cocktails, mimosas, things like that. And they will be leasing space over at, I'm looking for the exact address, but it's on Cranberry Highway is where it's
2421 Cranberry
Yeah, in
Highway,
Wareham.
Suite 336.
correct, in Wareham Crossing. And so they'll have a 1-floor, cafe space, which will have a dining room. It'll have a little bit of an outdoor patio that's closed off, so they'll be able to control it, as well as the front kitchen and back of house kitchen and bathrooms. It's about 3,000 square feet, or just over 3,000 square feet. I think Jan is best positioned to answer any questions that you have about operations. If there's any legal questions, I'm certainly happy to answer any of them. If there's any questions you have for the landlord related to this, Hannah's here as their representative as well. And I'm happy to walk you through anything in the application if you have questions or concerns.
Thank you. Mr. Slavin, I know you had some questions, sir.
Yeah, we've actually, Jim and I were town hall today. We happened to be there at the same time and opened up the package because of the number of pages, etc. And the way the layout is, I have concerns about the outdoor portion for the liquor license. As you look at the display there, it encompasses walking area for sidewalk. The way that parking area comes down, you have to turn. And it just shows like where there is some handicap spots right now on the back side of basically on the right side of the left side of the flat wall building, not the front. There's some handicap spots in there which seem to disappear with the availability of the enclosed area. It also actually goes out into the parking area for the outdoor cafe piece, which is fairly substantial. And I think I'd like to see that much clearer and have a much better understanding of that. I was going to suggest that, because I know they're concerned, about this is I think the last or one of the last liquor licenses we have right now. Make sure they don't lose it per se. But I'd like to continue the hearing as far as the liquor license goes to the next meeting till we get much better, clearer view of what we have there. Only because I'm concerned about the taking of some parking area, taking of some handicap spot, taking stuff along the front, which means you can't walk, along that area there and the way cars park and stuff. It just doesn't look right to me and I'm very familiar with the area.
Thank you.
I know Cozy's really well when they were there. It just doesn't, the way the layout's been presented to us, it just doesn't look right.
Mr. Wilk, do you have a screen sharing ability and do you have the layout that you could
Yeah,
share?
I have the layout, and I think if there's a way to do screen sharing, I can do that. I'm not sure.
There is a way.
how
I
to
wouldn't know
figure
how to
out
do it, but you must.
share screen. One would hope. So I'm trying to share this piece, and then I'd ask.
You got it.
Okay, so I'd ask Jan or Hannah, who probably knows the physical layout of that sidewalk better. I don't think you can see my cursor going across this, can you?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I think the area you're talking about is right here.
Yeah, the way your layout was, you actually go farther out than that into the parking area. You go longer and farther out, and you're showing it coming down almost really in the front of the store on the right-hand side, looking at this, and over to that sidewalk area to a D as well. So the layout that you submitted is a lot bigger than what you're showing here right now. But
This
that
was
is
from the application. This was the page that was in the application. So I'm not sure if there was, I'm not sure what else you would have been looking at. I'm not, if.
you have
this was-
you have several other pages that
Oh,
also
okay.
show layout, not just the one. What my concern is that, as you can see, you have a handicap spot a little farther down, and there's an S there, but there's also another handicap spot because you're taking away some parking area. And I don't know whether that parking area being taken away affects the actual original application for the mall.
So I can speak to that as well as the landlord.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have been.
Could you identify yourself for the record, please, Ms. Foley?
Yes, Hannah Foley with WS Development.
Thank you.
I've been in contact with Kenneth Buckland to just give him a heads up that this plan was coming his way. Per our original site plan approval for the property, we have the ability to make modest site plan adjustments such as this. We're losing 4 parking spaces and we'll still be well within our parking requirement for the property. We're not losing any ADA parking. The spaces that you see sort of planned north the ADA spaces there serve Red Robin. And then there, as you can see, just on the south side of the plan, you can see sort of the tip of a striping for an ADA. So there's actually an ADA parking spot right at the entrance to the door for the new restaurant. And Kenneth preliminarily, of course, as this goes through the permitting process, he will make his official ruling, but he has deemed that this would be allowable to go through as an administrative approval from a site plan perspective. So he did not express any concerns with the layout.
Yeah, just so you know, it's the planning board that gives you approval, not Ken.
Thank you. Mr. Manise, any comments or questions, sir?
This document is much clearer. And what we were looking at, the one that was sent in the packet, which projected out over the handicap spots and into the next line of parking. It was all hatched out. So as long as this is on the sidewalks, correct? You're taking some of the parking, but non-handicap. What are you taking, 3 or 4 spaces there?
Correct. It's 4 spaces.
And now does the sidewalk that goes around it, does that go out? Will pedestrian traffic have to walk out into the parking lot?
No.
And not be able to continue along the sidewalk, or is that sidewalk with curbing dropping down to the parking lot?
Correct. So the white you see around the enclosed patio is raised sidewalk. So it would just be a continuous raised sidewalk around the new patio area outside of the parking field.
Thank you, because that was not clear. That's taking care of my concerns on it. And as long as that's incorporated as part of the documentation with the application that we'll be approving them, I'm much more comfortable with it now.
In this plan, this
you.
one page is the page that was formally submitted as what would be approved for the licensed premises. If there were other plans, I'm not sure what those were, because I was just checking on my other screen the application package we submitted. But I believe this is the page that would be the sort of the plan that's approved by the ABCC and your board.
Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum, do you have any questions, sir?
Judy, before you go, I just have one question follow-up.
Yep.
We never saw this particular picture at all. The sidewalk there, you were going to be building a new sidewalk there for that, because that doesn't exist now.
That's correct. As part of the site work, we would build a new sidewalk that goes around the patio.
Okay, and there'll be cars that will be coming behind that, whatever. We know people have accidents all the time. You'll be putting some kind of bollards or something to protect the people sitting in that outdoor parking area?
Correct. We're contemplating having sort of a small little fence around there, just like a little rail.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum, do you have questions, sir?
No, I think I'm good with this, so long as you don't serve any White Russians.
How about Moscow mules?
No, nothing from St. Petersburg either.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Tropiano,
Yeah, I'm okay with this drawing. It's gonna be fine. So when I make the motion, I will incorporate this drawing as part, as the actual building layout.
okay, thank you.
And then we won't.
I'm going to ask now if there's anybody here who would like to speak in support of this application. And I don't see any. Is there anyone here who would like to speak against this application? I see none.
Yeah,
Madam
move-
Chair, before
So
it ends, I'd just like to,
I'm sorry.
before it ends, I'd just like to thank them for investing in Wareham and coming to our town, and we really appreciate it and look forward to having you there. I'm trying to stay away from sweets. It's a tough battle, so definitely be there for the coffee. So thank you.
They have avocado toast, some healthy stuff.
so if I might
Yes, Ms.
follow up
Felice.
on what Mr. Slavin brought up, and that was very nice pick up on that. So will the sidewalk construction, new sidewalk construction be done before the outdoor seating is implemented?
Yeah, so good evening, everybody. I'm Jan Aggregation, CEO of Cape Cod Coffee. So first of all, thanks for taking the time tonight, and we're very excited about expanding off Cape and onto to Wareham. We think it's going to be a good fit for everybody, and absolutely. So we follow. We've been at Mashpee Commons for many years, and very good citizens, and give a lot back to the communities. We're all about family, community, and doing the right thing. So we do not cut corners anywhere. So we will have our design team making sure all the ADA requirements are there. Like Hannah described, we will have a new sidewalk go around. It would not be stepping down. We'll have a fence around there to protect any patron that's there, as well as making sure that from an ABCC perspective, we keep everybody in line and in check. So we've been doing this for a long time, and we, like I said, we invest a lot of money, and we'll make it a place that everybody will be proud in the community to come hang out for breakfast and lunch and more.
Thank you. I'm just going to note for the record that the hours have not been specified yet. So the motion would have to be subject to that, but is there anyone else who wants to speak on behalf of this applicant? Seeing none, Mr. Tropiano,
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made to close the public hearing, and there is a second to that. Is there any further discussion for the closing of the hearing? Roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
myself, yes, the hearing is closed. I will accept a motion.
I move we approve the application of CCC Wareham Store LLC DBA Cape Cod Coffee for, for an annual common vicular all alcoholic beverage license under the provisions of Chapter 138 Mass General Law for 2022. And that the document that was presented tonight be incorporated into as the site plan for the facility, and that we don't allow the license to be released until we have the hours of operation.
As well as the tips certificate for anybody who's been hired.
All the usual requirements, yes.
Thank you. Is there a second to his motion?
Second.
Thank you.
And that
Motion
also should include the insurance binders, et cetera, which were not present as well.
Right.
Inspections, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
And
the whole,
also inspections.
Yep. That's your motion, right, Mr. Tropiano?
Yeah.
And that is your second, Mr. Titlebaum, is that
Yes.
correct? Good.
Mhm.
I will call for a roll call on the motion to approve, subject to all of those. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano.
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
myself, yes. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for choosing to do business in Wareham. We very much appreciate it. Thank you. And good
Thank
night.
you.
The
Thank you very
paperwork, we will continue to wait for the paperwork before we can issue the license, which of course you understand.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate your
Good
consideration.
evening.
Thank you.
since we're in a hurry, we have to move on. So I move that we open the public hearing for an application from Philip Charalucci, 19 Highland Road, Wareham, Mass, for a modification of a shellfish license from David Paling and Philip Charalucci to Philip Charalucci.
Okay, could you let Mr. Charalucci into the meeting, please?
Seconded by Alan.
Is there a second to the motion?
Alan.
Okay, motion made and second to open the hearing. I will ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
myself, yes, the hearing is now opened. Mr. Charalucci, how are you this evening? You're muted, sir.
Can you
Thank
hear me
you.
now?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Can you introduce yourself and tell us what you're up to, please?
My name is Phil Charalucci, lifelong resident of Wareham. I run the Edgewater Oyster Farm adjacent to the property that I'm going for. I've been in business now for roughly 5 years. I'm looking to have some room for expansion. I've I've met my 5-year goal, which I presented to you originally for my original proposal. I'm at that capacity now, so I'm just looking to get some more property to build the business.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the selectmen if they have any questions for you, Mr. Slavin.
Is that your dad next to you, Phil? Or is that David?
That's David, actually.
This is Dave Paling. Hello, everybody.
Hi, David. How are you?
I figured you were hiding in the corner there somewhere.
He's hiding in Florida.
I know your dad's hiding in Florida. David does some really nice wood that comes out of the sea and stuff, you know.
Yeah, he does.
I think I have 2 or 3 of his pieces, actually. I know the family, obviously. I know their operation, and he's done a really great job in a short period of time. You know, raising oysters, you're subject to the climate here, which is really erratic, et cetera. It's not easy. And he really can use the extra space, and I have no issues at all with it.
Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum.
No concerns at all. Mr. Teralucci's a known quantity in town, and we haven't had any issues with his operation.
Thank you. Mr. Tropiano.
Hey, this is a tough business, and anybody that can keep doing it, they are, got my support.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Manise.
You're already part owner in this grant that you're going to be taking over, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I think we're just here to remove Dave from the grant.
Yeah, no, good. And, you know, it's not an easy job. And I don't know what it's like this time of year when you're out there, but God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. I will note for the record that we did get a letter of recommendation from Mr. Buckminster, the Department of Natural Resources head, and recommending that we approve this. I will now ask if there's anyone who would like to speak on behalf of the applicant. I see no one. Is there anyone who would like to object to this application? And I see no one.
Move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made to close the public hearing, and then with a second, I will go for a roll call vote, please. Mr. Slavin.
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum.
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano.
Yes.
Mr. Manise.
Yes.
Myself, yes, the hearing is closed. I will now accept a motion.
Move we approve the application from Philip Cheralucci, 19 Highland Road, Wareham, for modification of the shellfish license from David Baleen and Philip Cheralucci to Philip Cheralucci.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion? I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Slavin.
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum.
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano.
Yes.
Mr. Manise.
Yes.
And myself, yes. It is unanimous. Mr. Cheralucci, I don't know if there's any paperwork that you have to pick up, but it wouldn't be ready until Monday in any event.
Okay, I'll check in with the office.
Okay, thank you so much and enjoy.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Thank you. Gentlemen, you're doing really well. Let's keep it up.
Discussion and vote on the town administrator's contract renewal.
Second.
I'm sorry, what was the motion?
Discussion and vote. We're gonna have discussion and vote for the town administrator's contract.
Oh, it wasn't a motion. Never mind.
Wasn't a motion. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'll withdraw my second that's hanging out in thin air.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we all came to agreement on the town administrator's contract within a couple of executive sessions. You were given a copy of what we all agreed on Thursday. And as we had already voted to approve it, I would ask for a motion.
I move that we approve the town administrator's contract as presented and as voted in executive session.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve as it was approved in executive session. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
I would just like to say that I did not vote to approve it, and it has nothing to do with Mr. Sullivan's performance. It's more in line with the process of the negotiation, the terms of the contract. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. There's a motion and a second, and I will go for a roll call vote, please. Mr. Slavin.
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum.
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano.
Yes.
Mr. Manise.
No.
And myself, yes. 4-1-0. the contract shall be executed. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Madam Chair. I'd like to thank the members of the Board of Selectmen, all the members, Jim, yes, too. We talked about it, so that's, I appreciate all your support day in, day out. The members of the boards and committees of this town that volunteer their time, and the many citizens of this community, and all those that they volunteer in different ways, just not with the government. So it's, I really appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve. And I have to thank two other, if you will, bodies. One is the employees of this town who we're lucky to have. They're second to none. And then especially Ashley, Nora, and Maggie, who allow me the extra time to be here. So, and even the dogs. But thank you. I appreciate it, and I look forward to serving this community longer.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I would say that we are extremely lucky to have you. You have brought us from the brink of bankruptcy to a superior bond rating.
So
Next.
the next appointment of town council, who put this on there?
I did,
Only
because it
kidding.
has to be done in March. So I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
I move we appoint town council for
You
another.
need to name somebody, please.
You take it.
Can I please have a motion? Did you make a real live motion?
Yeah, I did. I made a motion to approve town council's renewal for another year.
Second.
It's a year, right? We do every year.
Right, but you need to name him,
Reappoint.
please.
Oh, you want me to name Rich Bowen?
I do. Thank you.
doesn't-
Is that your motion?
Okay. I move
Yeah.
we approve Richard Bowen as town council for the 2022 year, 2022-23 year, because it
Thank
goes
you very
through.
much. Is there a second to that
Second,
motion? Second. Okay, is there any further discussion on the motion? I will call for a roll call vote, please. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano.
Yeah.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
and myself, yes, 500. Thank you very much.
I don't know
Madam
how we.
Chairman.
ended up with this.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bowen.
Thank you to you and the board for your confidence in me. It's an honor to serve the town. And I hope we have a great year going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Discussion and possible vote to accept the 2020 re-precincting plan for the town of Wareham. I don't think we really have a choice here. It's sort of cut and dry. So I move we approve the redistricting plan. How about that?
Second.
There was motion and second. We were given several documents that indicated what was being moved or not moved and so on and so forth. So is there any further discussion on the motion?
Just, I think the public needs some kind of brief explanation. Every time there's a federal census, the state takes a look at the size of the precincts and tries to adjust them to keep them as pretty much even as possible. It's possible that the next time around, we would have to add a precinct for population purposes if the town keeps adding people. But for now, we can stay within 6 precincts. So what will happen is we vote this, and then the town clerk will send out postcards to everybody who is moving from one precinct to another. And they don't, it's every address on those streets. It's not just the people who are on the voter rolls. It's to also inform everybody who lives on a given street that street X is no longer in, precinct A, it's going over to precinct B. So people should look in the mail and pay attention. This will also go up on the town website, I think, for people to take a look at too. There aren't a lot of streets involved, but still, if you're on one of those streets, you're gonna wanna know. So the information will be coming to you.
Thank you for the explanation. Is there any further discussion on the motion? I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
myself, yes, 500. Thank you.
Next is discussion and possible vote concerning the Little Harbor Country Club CR holder.
The manner of selecting the Little Harbor Country Club CR holder. I will jump in here.
Yep.
Because the selection of a CR holder may in fact require funding, this has to be put out to bid with an RFP. So that's what we need to authorize Mr. Sullivan to do tonight.
Okay.
Is there any discussion on that?
I think
Slavin?
you'd be soliciting a CR holder, right?
That's correct. You would write an RFP to solicit in a holder to, you're soliciting for an MOU to be the holder of the CR. We need the MOU before we can close on purchasing the real estate. We understand that the documentation of a CR would be subsequent to the MOU, and sometimes they take 6 to 8 months to accomplish and be approved by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So the thing that we are authorizing Mr. Sullivan to do is to put a request for proposal out there to see who would be interested in providing the services that we're looking for.
Well, and everybody knows this is a requirement because of the money.
That's correct. Mr. Slavin?
Yeah, we've never had to do this before simply because any CI we've done, whether it's been a town committee or somebody else, there's never been money involved. And we reached out to town council just to make sure that there wasn't going to be an issue, but the money was substantial. And it's a procedure that we do because there really is no organization listed by the state. Usually, I think Mr. Sullivan has the procurement officer. You have usually like 3 or 4 companies that are allowed to go to under a certain dollar level, et cetera. In this case here, nothing really exists like this. So to make sure someone doesn't come back and accuse us of not doing our fiduciary responsibilities, et cetera. I know the way things are these days, I want to make sure that we basically dot our I's and cross our T's, et cetera.
Thank you.
It's that simple. It's nothing. It's just because it has been done. And I checked for quite a ways back. We've never done this before.
Right.
But
Thank you,
we've never paid before either.
Right. Mr. Titlebaum? Questions?
Yeah. I know there was some preliminary discussions with one entity in town, and they had gotten to a certain point. And then, we got to town meeting and had to go ahead with that. So I would assume that we'll be hearing at least from that party that was interested initially. And, I hope they do apply. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Manise?
Would that be request for proposal or request for quote?
Request for proposal. You've got me, I can't even say it. It's an RFP.
I know what it means.
Yeah, it's not
just
for
wondering
a quote, it's for a proposal.
Okay. Is it necessary to do it through that?
Yes, because of the dollars that we have been told may in fact be.
What's the threshold on it? Do you know?
Mr. Sullivan? Threshold for,
50,000. Well, it's technically an interest in real property, but usually it's 50,000. So I need to go back to looking at the manual, Jim. Excuse me, Selectman Manise. I think it could be 35,000 and above for real property. There's different ones for each one. So I'm sorry, I don't have the.
No, that's all right. So it's triggered by the.
All around.
Yeah.
Right, and I understand. So it's triggered by that. So that's the difference between a quote where you can solicit individual groups or people, and a proposal where it's, I guess you put it in the register.
Yeah, I'd go through the central register. So, and then probably combis as well. I think I have to pop it in there, and there might be, I'll have to look at the requirements. I might have to advertise for like a week before the closing or something like that, before the closing of the request for proposals.
Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Manise. Mr. Tropiano, any questions or concerns, sir?
Oh, no, I certainly hope that the land trust, you know, make sure they put in a proposal and does forward. I thought they did a hell of a job at town meeting in really clarifying the issue. And, you know, I think they've kind of earned a shot at this thing, you know, and, well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll it comes to pass.
Thank you. I'll accept a motion.
Okay. I move that we ask the town administrator to send an RFP out for an MOU for the CR on the country club, the Little Harbor Club.
Thank you. Mr.
Second.
Title, second, Mr. Slavin?
Yep.
Okay, I just would urge Mr. Sullivan to do it as quickly as possible because the course is actually going to open on April 1st. And we hope to have a closing by May 1st, hoping. So there is some urgency of time here. I will go. Do you have a question, Mr. Manise?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm working on something else.
No, okay, thanks.
I moved
I
my
will
hand,
go for a
sorry.
roll call vote, please. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
and myself, yes, 500. Thank
Good
you.
thing you weren't at an auction because you would have owned it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
All right, next is discussion regarding the establishment of a golf course advisory committee.
Excellent. Now, I did send you some information. I think it was Friday, but don't hold me to that. Which are some suggestions from an individual who actually has talked with several courses that have golf course advisory committees. I will clarify that to say they are municipally owned golf courses that have advisory committees. I think you've had time to look at it. So the suggestion really is to have 5 members, which are appointed by the Board of Selectmen. The terms originally would be staggered, but they would end up being 3-year terms on a rolling basis. The real function of this, the town administrator is in charge of the property when we own it, as he is in charge of all facilities. But, you know, we want to be able to have the community not knock on Mr. Sullivan's door every time, you know, the grass isn't cut right or something like that. So this is really an advisory committee to help meld the new management company with the town's management of the course. I think that's probably a good enough explanation. Do you gentlemen have any comments or suggestions?
No,
Makes sense.
I went through what you gave, Judy. I thought everything was pretty clear, pretty simple, straightforward.
Okay, I do not have this on tonight's agenda for a vote, so I just would like to have you, think about it. I think if you have some additional suggestions, please feel free.
Just if you don't mind me speaking, I just mailed the BOS. I went through the document, made my suggestions.
You just did?
I just did because
Okay.
I didn't want to get into discussion before about it. I think what I've submitted may help to speed up the initial process. And then what I suggested is an initial steering committee and then a permanent committee made up slightly different so that we can get people who are more adept in working through the process so that we can get everything in place sooner than not. And then a full committee, staggered, as you said, with some suggestions in there. You'll see highlights and other things.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Would it be all right with you gentlemen if I put it on the agenda for the 8th, which is next week? And I will incorporate, well, we will all have seen Mr. Maniz's suggestions.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. We will move on to item F.
Have discussion and possible vote to establish dates for the 2022 Springtown meeting.
Pietro,
Yeah, you want me to read that?
I do.
Give me a second, I'll scroll down.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, here we go. And this is a vote to adopt the schedule and a motion for that. Town of Wareham Board of Selectmen, 54 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571. Process for calling a special town meeting within spring annual town meeting, April 25th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. Tuesday, March 1st, 2022, Board of Selectmen establish all dates for completion of a warrant for the special town meeting. That's what we're doing now. Tuesday, March 8th, 2022, Board of Selectmen vote to hold the special town meeting on April 25th, 2022, and to provide notice thereof on Wednesday, March 9th, 2022. Wareham Home Rule Charter 2-4A and C, and to open the warrant effective Friday, March 18th, 2022. Wareham Home Rule Charter Section 2-4C, which is 10 days notice before the warrant closes. Wednesday, March 9th, 2022, last day to post upon town's principal bulletin board and the town website, notice of intention of Board of Selectmen to call the special town meeting for April 25th, 2022, and to post the March 18th, 2022 opening and March 29th, 2022 closing dates of the warrant. This is under Wareham Home Rule Charter 2-4C, 24 hours after voting the date warrant opens. Monday, March 28th, 2022, last day for submission of articles and or petitions to be inserted in the warrant. This is under Wareham Home Rule Charter Section 2-4C, 10 days or more after the warrant opens. Tuesday, March 29th, 2022, Board of Selectmen officially closed the warrant. This is under Wareham Home Rule Charter 2-4C, 10 days or more after the warrant opens. Friday, April 1st, 2022, last day to post the special town meeting warrant upon the town's principal bulletin board and the town website, and to deliver a copy of warrant to the town moderator and to the chairman of the finance committee. This is under Wareham Home Rule Charter Section 2-4D, special town meeting warrant to be delivered at least 21 calendar days before the commencement date of such meeting. Tuesday, April 25th, 2022 is the commencement of the special town meeting. That's the motion.
Thank you. Motion made in second to establish the dates for the special town meeting. Any further discussion? Jim, you have your hand up?
I do.
Or maybe you don't. Oh, that's my hand. Sorry. I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Slavin?
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum?
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano?
Yes.
Mr. Maniz?
Yes.
Just myself. Thank you.
Just, Madam Chairman, just next week, just remember, we've got to put the notice of intention on for a vote.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
And
Yeah.
next, discussion and possible vote for articles for the annual 2022 annual Springtown meeting. I'm just so you know, we just got these today. There's a whole bunch of articles and stuff. I'm not prepared to deal with any of those until we've got the chance to review them.
The only thing that we are here today to do is to put them on the warrant. We are not discussing what they say or what they're asking for. We are simply voting to put them on the warrant. I will note that our items 19 through 26 go on by right. They have been submitted by citizens petitions. And the first 11 are actually standard. We do them every year. The only change would be item 4, where there might be some changes in the dollar amounts. So we do need to place them on the warrant and close the warrant.
I've got the list here. I can go down the list. I mean, you know, if there is discussion, if there is a question about whether to put an article on or not, that's within fair game of discussion,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, but
Well,
can we
I'll
just, before we do that, Mr. Sullivan, on Article 4, do you have any changes to the amounts, sir?
No.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Titlebaum, go ahead.
Okay,
Can I ask a question?
Sure. Now you have your hand
Point
up.
of information?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I was a little slow. So I know we closed the town warrant and accepting the warrant articles. Is it a requirement that we move to vote and to put the articles on the warrant this evening? Or could you do it the next meeting? I'm not looking to move everything forward necessarily, but just a point of information through you to Attorney Bowen or
Mr. Bowen?
Madam Chairman, through you to Selectman Muniz. Let me break it down into two different categories. Citizen petition articles that have the requisite number of signatures go on the warrant by operation of law, and so no action by the Board of Selectmen is necessary. If they have the right number of signatures, they go on as they were petitioned by the signatories. So that's one group of them. Then you have a second group of articles that have been proposed either by yourselves, by the town administrator, or by departments. You would want to, or not want to, I suppose, you would want to make a decision as to whether to include them on the warrant before you close the warrant. Because as the concept suggests, once you close the warrant, that's it. Nothing else is getting on unless you move to reopen the warrant and then reclose it. So yeah, the citizen stuff, if it has the right number of signatures, and that's for the town clerk to determine, not the Board of Selectmen, they're on. If they're departmental, Board of Selectmen articles, town administrator articles, that's up to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, sir?
yes, thank you for the clarification. That would be committee articles also, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the clarification again.
Thank you. Ms. Allen, Mr. Slavin?
Just as a clarification for Jim also, we had an article at town meeting that actually would eliminate our ability to do just that. It's still sitting at the House and Senate because of when it was submitted, which, you know, we may see it sometime down the line. I'm not sure when that will come up.
Thank you.
Which would
Mr.
eliminate the
Titlebaum?
issue at all.
Mr. Titlebaum, go ahead.
Okay, Article 1, election. What I'll do is read the first, if nobody wants to hold on any of the first 10, I will just read the titles of the first 10 and just make it as part of one motion. That's okay.
I think first 11, sir, you can actually do.
Okay, Article 1, election of officers. Article 2, recurring business. Article 3, compensation of certain appointed officials. Article 4, fiscal year 23 revolving funds. Article 5, occasional reports. Article 6, fiscal year 23 capital plan. Article 7, fiscal year 23 budget. Article 8, EMS budget. Article 9, Upper Cape Regional Technical School budget. Article 10, Water Pollution Control Facility Enterprise Fund. Article 11, union contracts. I move to put all 11 on the warrant.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion for all those 11, which are normal, recurring every year articles? I see no discussion. I will go for a roll call vote, please. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yeah.
Mr. Muniz,
Yes,
and myself, yes. So it's 5-0-0. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yeah, 1 second. I'm just logging the vote
Yeah.
myself. Going down, Article 12, fiscal year 2023 Community Preservation Fund reserves. These are the standard allocations.
Motion to include in the warrant.
Second.
motion made and seconded to include in the warrant. Is there any further discussion on the motion? I will go for a roll call vote, please. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes?
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Muniz,
yes,
myself, yes. 5-0-0. Thank you. Number 13.
Number 13, the 801 Village. This apparently is, Community Preservation is seeking to issue a grant, I believe of $300,000 to the folks who have developed 815 Main Street. I would imagine it's for some further expansion. But they're asking us to put this on the warrant to be voted on. So I move that we put it on the warrant.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Go for a roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
I'm going to abstain on this because I did the same thing for, Littleton.
thank you. Mr. Titlebaum,
Yeah, I'll vote to put it on.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes,
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
and myself, yes. So 401, thank you.
Okay, next up, Harbor Services Permit Receipts Reserved for Appropriations Account. That's DNR through the mooring permits and so on and so forth.
That's a standard as well.
Yep.
second.
Motion made and seconded to include.
That.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Titlebaum,
Yes.
Tropiano,
Yep.
Manise, me, 500. I'm trying
Next.
to copy Sandy Slavin's, how fast she did it the other day. Go ahead.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Article 15, replacement Swift Speech sewer lines to Ruggles Pump Station. This was a request for, I believe, $3 million.
Yeah.
And it comes from the Sewer Commission.
That's correct. And it is 3 million, yes, correct.
So that's my motion to put it on.
I'd like to
Second.
know what Sullivan has to say about this first.
May we have a second for discussion, please?
Sure.
Second.
Thank you. Second for discussion. Mr. Sullivan, do you care to weigh in on this?
It has not been brought before me.
Thank you. I will now go for a vote. It has been motioned to be included. Mr. Slavin,
Just before I vote, one of the reasons for this is the Swift Speech sewer lines are all underwater substantially because of the basic area itself and tides going in and out. I think they may be 15 feet underwater actually. And we're getting a lot of I&I, et cetera. Plus we have a lot of serious issues with sump pumps. The project will basically, unfortunately for some people, will eliminate the ability to use a sump pump, et cetera, as well. We really don't have much choice but to repair this and get this straightened out. So my vote is yes.
thank you. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Okay, I'll go.
Yeah, we're just putting this on
Wait a
the
sec.
warrant. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Mr. Tropiano first and then you, Mr. Manise.
So, I don't like when these sewer articles don't go before finance, i.e. the town administrator. We've run into a lot of problems when this happens. And then we end up with, warrant articles that get chopped up and things that get whatever. I mean, there's no excuse for the town administrator not knowing about spending $3 million. Remember, he oversees the finance of that department.
Thank you.
Excuse for it.
Thank you. Mr. Manise?
This is just putting it on the warrant,
Yes,
and
sir.
to vote it up or down is another story, and we can get an explanation. I believe, I thought a lot of those lines had been a lot of those gravity lines had been lined, but I'm willing to listen to it and then make a decision on whether we support it or not. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I now have I'm going to call for the vote because I have a motion to include it. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
I'll call it a reluctant yes. I agree with Selectman Tropiano that the process needs to improve so the town administrator is aware of these things beforehand. But I also know that they are out there far too often digging deep holes to try to address these pipes when they screw up. So
thank you. Mr. Tropiano,
Okay, so I'm gonna put it on, but we better get some information to the town administrator before we go to vote for this, because I'll vote against it.
thank you, sir. Mr. Manise,
Yes.
And myself, yes, 500. It is on the warrant.
Yeah, I do just want to confirm the way it's written, the only option they have is for borrowing. All right, so they do not have the retained earnings to pay for that right now. So they did set it up with multiple options. Their only option is to
Is to
borrow
borrow.
for their articles.
Which is
Thank you.
another.
Mr. Titlebaum?
Yeah, okay, moving on, number 16, East Wareham School, located at 27 Depot Street, Wareham, Mass. This article proposes, at the request of the school committee, to abandon the building back to the town control and take it out of school committee control.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion. Motion to
Is
put
there
it
a
on.
second? I'll second it for discussion. Is there any further discussion?
I believe this has deed restrictions.
Yes, it does.
The building's in not too good a shape. So it might be kind of a challenge to remove the restriction as a process, I guess. Even different than the West Elementary. So that's all I really have to say about it. I know we have to do something somewhere, whether it's a school committee or us. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any further discussion? What, Alan? Mr. Slavin?
I would ask Town Administrator Sullivan whether he wants to have this piece of property on his inventory or let the school give it to us back in proper shape, which probably has never happened before.
If you choose to answer, Mr. Sullivan, you do not have to.
Yes, it's a loaded question, which is why you said that.
That's correct.
No, it's, there's, so I'll tell you, we received an email that there is no deed restriction on this property. I do not believe that to be the case. We've looked at it multiple times. However, the school department seems to feel different. That property has, the insurance on it is currently for liability only because it's a vacant building. So there's no value to that. We're probably looking at about 20 or 30,000 if we wanted insurance on the building for the year. It'd be substantial. It's not a quick turnover to get rid of, but I guess if nobody else is going to do it, this is kind of one of those things where stuff rolls uphill or downhill to us.
Downhill.
So,
Yeah. So if I might, Madam Chair, a deed restriction that might have been right. It's a reversion clause on there, isn't it, to the heirs of the
Right.
person who, yeah, so it's just, I guess, legal stuff that would have to be cleared up if we wanted to do something beyond utilize it for educational purposes or whatever. It's another one, it's just another hurdle to have to work over. That's all. Thank you.
that's where we had seen, well, it was before it was South Shore, the other Head Start program going into because of the restriction. It did need, they saw that needed more work. There'd be they would have to come up with some funds for that. That's why that didn't happen with that building.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go for a roll call vote. There is a motion and a second. Mr. Slavin, to put it on the warrant.
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
and myself reluctantly, yes.
Mm.
And next, Mr. Titlebaum, number 17, sir.
Line force main from Narrows to Water Pollution Control Facility. I forget what the dollar amount on this one is, but I'm assuming it's got a lot of zeros.
It's 3 million as well.
3 million.
3 million, yep.
That's
That's
one
nice.
that they have been discussing for a while now.
So this is something you're aware of?
Yeah, it's I wasn't aware it's coming forward till they voted upon it, but I do know it's been on the list, if you will.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Slavin.
Again, the explanation of this is that this is one of our two major pump stations that, the stuff basically goes through all the way back to the plant. There's serious issues with it and the line and stuff. And if this particular thing was to go down completely, when you go to flush the toilet, it'll be coming back out rather than going back in.
Thank you. I
TMI,
will accept a motion to place it on the warrant.
so moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Titlebaum,
Yes.
Tropiano.
Yep.
Manise,
Yes.
and myself, yes, 500. And one last one.
Yeah, number 18, special legislation funding for the Wareham Affordable Housing Trust. This article would propose taking half of the proceeds from the town's sale of real estate tax title auction and put it in a fund for the Affordable Housing Trust to expend.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion made in second. Is there any further discussion?
I would like to, I'd like to know what the town administrator thinks of this.
Mr. Sullivan?
They're requesting the funds to do, I guess, what is what their charter calls them to be able to do. So I think that's, but it would be, they would have to describe what they're going to use the funds for.
Well, but what is it budgetary wise? I mean, that's what I care about,
It's going to depend. This is on tax title sales.
right?
So the most recent one we had was Apple Street, 5 Apple Street, and it's on the net. So they didn't do it on the overall because otherwise we could have owed money. So I appreciate that. So I believe our net was about, let's call it 70,000 on the last one. So it'd be a $35,000 impact. When we do tax title, when we do sales of real estate that we foreclosed on during tax title, everything goes back to the sewer department, the what do you call it? It would be the fire or water districts for their liens, ours, and all that stuff is paid off. Then the attorney's fees, then all the other fees on top of it. And then what's left over between the sale and that is would be considered the net proceeds. So I really can't tell you what that would mean on any given sale, because if it was something that took longer, like this last one, Apple Street, we were held up twice on it, which cost about 10,000 more when the people petitioned again, when we had a snowstorm. But so I can't tell you what the impact's going to be on any given. It's, as much as I like extra money to the town, it always sounds ghoulish when you're celebrating sort of the foreclosed property. So
I'm going to ask Mr. Sullivan, where do the proceeds of tax titles, other than the things that you've just described, what are the only things that where do they go? Where does that?
Good question. So what happens is that just closes out to the general fund as a revenue. So you can't expend it at that time, which means it goes to free cash. So that's what helps create our free cash.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
So I can speak with this, right?
Yes, go ahead.
So on the sale of Apple Street, what was the net proceeds from that?
It was a little over 70,000, Jim.
And how many sales did we have, tax title sales did we have this year?
One, the Apple Street.
Apple Street. So that would be 50% would be 35,000 into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund and 35,000 to the town. That would help fund programs to assist people in housing in the town. And as you say, it sounds kind of ghoulish. So why not put it to a good use and help people who may be in similar situations or looking to be able to get a home or something like that. And I don't think the amount of money that we'd be receiving would really impact the town financially overall. It's nothing you can count on. It's just something that you receive when you actually put the properties out for tax title. It's nothing you can work into the budget.
Thank you.
So we'd appreciate your support on this. Thanks.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and a second, do I? Okay, I'm going to go for a roll call vote then, please. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
No.
Mr. Titlebaum,
I'm going to say no, but I'm going to ask the Affordable Housing Trust to consider resubmitting it on the special town meeting warrant with some additional explanation of the types of programs they'd like to do, so that if that's done, then perhaps I could support it on there.
May I speak to that or not?
yes, sir. Go ahead.
I think it's pretty much explained in the Affordable Housing Trust description of purpose and what we can do in the expenditures. And it's just, you can't do anything if you don't have anything. And luckily, through a couple of previous sales or buildings and a donation, and also some monies put aside by CPC, we were able to support a home up on Great Neck Road and contribute to that. So it's things like that. It's to help in affordable housing. So, I mean, I guess that's all I want to say to it at this point in time. This is, I think, third or fourth try. We've changed the amounts and what we were looking to have given to the trust. Before we asked for all sales, and then we said, well, there's tax title sales. And again, you know, a lot of the times when you're getting tax titles, it's, you know, people couldn't pay the taxes, someone's passed away, and the family was not able to, or there was no family to continue paying the taxes. So I think it's a good thing. And but thank you. Thank you for your input there, Mr. Titlebaum.
May I ask you a question, Mr. Manise, before I vote?
You may.
I don't know if I asked you to vote yet either. I'm confused right now. Do you have a budget that you could actually, an operating budget, not including the tax title sales information, which is that's a wannabe, right? But do you have a
You
budget?
ask me this every time.
Yeah, and what's the answer?
You know, we have money in an account.
Yeah.
And we don't have to really budget anything. We just go by when we get requests. And if they fall under the guise of affordable housing, then we can appropriate funds or not to help people out if we feel that it's appropriate.
Okay.
And, you know, again, it's not a lot of money, and we just, you know, we've done a lot. We would just, you know, put out $2.6 million without really having a budget. So I don't think I'm asking for a heck of a lot for a good cause. But
Can
thank
you tell me? Yeah, thank you. Could you tell me how much there is in your account?
I believe it's like 137,000 right now, because we had
Thank you, Tim.
237 and we put 100,000 towards the home up on Great Neck Road.
Okay.
But thank you.
Okay. I've done 3 votes. Mr. Manise, your vote.
Yes.
And mine will be a yes. So it's 3-2-0. Thank you for answering the question,
Okay,
sir.
so on that
Thank you
goes.
very much.
On that
And-
note, the last 7 actually are on by right of being petitioned.
Yep, Articles 19 through 26 require no vote because they go on automatically pending certification by the town clerk to required numbers of signatures, which is only 10 for
Okay.
annual town meeting.
I will now accept a motion to close the meeting.
Was the
Close the
801,
warrant.
Madam Chair, was the 801 Main Street on there? Was it?
Yes, that's
Yeah, we
number
already did that.
13.
That was a 401 vote.
Okay.
Nu-
Yeah,
Number
that was-
13, sir.
I
Is
got a
that-
little
was that a-
confused on that.
Did I, yeah, was that the one, is that a nonprofit organized group?
Hold on.
And the only reason I ask is I just remember that caused a lot of consternation at a couple town meetings ago.
Well, it came from CPC, so we can hope.
Has to be some, I would assume there's some affordability aspect to it.
Yeah, it says,
I don't know.
yeah, they're saying from the Affordable Housing Reserve Funds. A grant
Mixed
to
unit.
villages, and here we go. Villages 801 Main Street LLC with a business location, so it is an LLC. I can't tell you what kind.
Okay, so that'd be
Little bit of
sounds like it's a
liability
private business then.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further questions on what we've done so far? Then I will accept a motion to officially close the warrant.
So moved.
In a second by Tropiano, motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Slavin. You're muted. You're muted. Stop it.
I was trying to check my toilet, that's all. Yes.
Thank you. Tropiano,
Yes.
Titlebaum,
Yes.
Manise,
Yes.
myself, yes, the warrant is closed. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Next.
Any other town business?
No.
Okay, town administrator report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The, real quick, for the special town meeting, would, Madam Chair, would you like to have the office send out a notification? I believe they closed, the warrant should be all articles in on the 22nd. Do you want them all in from the town by the 15th or?
Yeah, this nonsense of handing stuff in 2 hours before the warrant closes is really very difficult to deal with from a running a business perspective. So yes, please.
All right, so that wasn't my department heads that did that, but I will notify them that 3:15.
Thank you.
Try and get it in by 1 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay. A little bit of sad news. We are losing our building commissioner, Mr. Requena, and I appreciate all the hard work he has done for the community and wish him well. I will say that, he had nothing but great things to say about everyone's, and I appreciate that, but I believe the term was 1/10 of the workload was what he said. It's hard to beat. So certainly understandable. Wish him well, and hope all is well with him and in the future.
Thank you.
The COVID numbers, we had 14 positive cases. With this downward trend, I think there's going to be a pause on the tracking for a little bit. And if we start seeing the trends coming back up, we'll reinstitute that. So, update on the Tremont nail signs, including the bell, the tower and the bell. Mr. Menard has gotten received a third quote, just approximately $9,500, which is excellent. We're going to move forward with that without waiting for CPC on it and get it going. So I believe it will be in 2 Fridays when we've booked them, just to get everything going. So that's a little bit of good news. The Finance Committee budget meeting will be this Thursday. And that starts, it's an all day essentially. So it starts from 8 to about 2 p.m. So it's appreciate all their work and working with us and putting it together. And I think I'm just looking through my notes here. I think that is all for right now.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you serve a virtual lunch at that finance committee meeting?
Well, they're going to be in room 320, so it's
Oh,
I try and get a heads up. I won't lie, it's not good for the diet. It's usually pizza and a couple other items. So, and I think I'm not the only one that enjoys the cheat day. So they seem pretty happy about it.
Thank you very much.
Next
Are you
up
all
is
set with your report, sir?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
liaison initiative reports.
Mr. Slavin?
Okay. On the bike path, two things. One, I'd like to have the office reach out to people, the few that have expressed interest, to get a hold of them to see if they still do. I'm meeting tomorrow with the selectmen in Marion to discuss the potential of the Route 6 bike path. The state, as we know, is redoing the bridge over the Wewianick, putting a bike lane on both sides. They're also going to extend the bike path for that all the way down to the new Swiss Beach light, which is coming in about a year approximately. And Marion's bike path, instead of trying to go down County Road, we're hoping to get them to agree to also come down Route 6 with the new road change there, which would basically get their bike path to meet up with the Mattapoisett path and come all the way down that far into Wareham. And the Mattapoisett bike path joins with the Fairhaven bike path all the way into New Bedford now. So we still won't have the complete path through Wareham, but we have a good portion there. I'll let everybody know next week how the meeting goes tomorrow on that. The other piece is I've been working with the Representative Keating, our congressman, on the infrastructure programs where the substantial money is coming. And I'm basically asking for earmarks for the water pollution control facility see if we can get full payment for the process of basically the plant being able to pump back out through Mass Maritime, which is a huge dollar amount, which is no way the town can do it on their own. The police public safety complex is another earmark I've been looking for a while, and also a community center type combination with the public safety. If we're able to get earmarks there, we maybe would get something with a majority of the cost paid for, where the town will come out with a very little expense for that. So I'll keep working on that as best I can.
Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum? You're muted, sir.
Yes, next week, Tricia is going to be delivering round 2 of her work for the Redevelopment Authority, which relates less to what she found out from the people she interviewed, but more about what she found out about the process, how people in town get information, how they like to get information, what are their preferred forms of media, and so on and so forth. Because when she initially got involved in this, she herself told us right out of the gate there would be mission creep, and that she hoped to put together an overall template for how the town goes about proposing changes to the citizenry to get better participation, and hopefully through that better buy-in, or at least better knowledge about a specific project. So that's going to be happening not this week, but next week at the Redevelopment Authority. So that's going to be interesting. And I'll ask WCTV to tape that. I got to follow up and make sure that they did get the first session that we did online, because I promised that that would go up as well. So I'll make sure that happens. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tropiano?
All set.
All set. And Mr. Manise?
Well, we had an Affordable Housing Trust meeting this morning. And you see the results, and thank you. We're going to do it last week, and I forgot the holiday, and my fault. So I missed the posting. And tomorrow we have a Regional Refuge District meeting. We're still doing them online, and it actually works out very well. Saying we're from 2 communities and geographically separated. And we'll be, we interviewed, was it a week and a half ago, a couple of law firms, because we're hiring a new attorney as Attorney Karate is retiring after many years. I don't know, 30 as a attorney for the district. And so we'll be discussing that and just general business. And I guess that's all for right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Have I missed anybody? Except me?
You.
Nothing to report.
All right, consent agenda, we have one item to authorize payment to the law office of Richard P. Bowen.
Second.
We gotta pay him because we rehired.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? I will go for a roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Tropiano,
Yes,
Titlebaum,
Yes.
Manise,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Thank you very much. I would remind all of you that I need your signatures before 10 o'clock tomorrow morning on the warrant that we just closed, if you haven't already.
Yes, Mrs. Whiteside.
Thank you, my dear.
You've got 3 signatures now.
I know. Okay, I'm all set. Has anybody else got anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Slavin and seconded by Titlebaum, not discussable, and therefore roll call vote. Slavin,
Yes.
Tropiano,
yes.
Titlebaum,
Yes.
Manise, and myself, yes. Good
Yes.
night, Wareham. Wow.
Night all.
Nice job.
Night.
Blake.